there one.
Welcome to the Agents of the Unexplained. Grab your gear and let's journey into the mysterious world of cryptids and the paranormal. Get ready for an adventure into the unknown. Listen carefully as you are guided through the unexplained and cryptid phenomena that challenge our understanding of reality. Here is your host, Bill Rigby.
Hey, everybody. I'm telling you, it's been a crazy little few minutes here. Technical difficulties on my end, technical difficulties on Tater's end, but I'm bringing him in. The hell with it. I don't even need to introduce him because this man, he's pretty well known all over. There you are, brother.
Boy, we were struggling for this one, weren't we?
Yeah, we were. Oh, man. I'm like, what the heck is wrong here? Us guys never work so hard. Except for when you're learning your lines on a play. But that's
yeah.
But with all honesty, folks, I got a lot of love and respect for Tater, as I call him. A lot of people calls him. David Elvin Wickham is his real name, but we all call him Tate because he is the man. And I'm not BSing. He came up to me about the first time I actually met him in person, and we sat and talked. And he didn't want to cause a problem in my group, and so we sat there and discussed. I said, "Say what you want. I ain't gonna let things get out of hand, because someone wouldn't agree with him. You know what? It's my group." My rules. If I don't like what they're saying, I'll tell them. But Tater is very intelligent. He covers the bases with the facts. So go ahead and introduce yourself, Tater.
Well, I guess after that introduction, gee whiz, I got to live up to a lot. As he said, I'm David, and a lot of people call me Taters. It's just a nickname that I got in the Bigfoot world. No one else in other aspects of my life calls me Tater. So if someone yells at in a mall or at a camp out, I know that they're kind of a Bigfoot initiate. I've been doing it for it's been almost 2012. I think I went on my first Bigfoot expedition with the BFRO after finding Bigfoot, and was always a fan of Bigfoot, UFOs, ghosts, and I really just got involved and got hooked. And growing up in Southeast Ohio, where Don Keaton was doing Bigfooting, it was just kind of a second nature to pick up that as a hobby.
Yeah, very much so, especially under Don Keating and it with everything he's been doing back then to now. One thing I got to say, we lost another fellow Bigfooter last night, Scott Violet. He passed away last night. So prayers to his family. It's all from the Gulf War and the pills they gave him, in case there's nerve agents, they gave them the pills ahead of time to take, and they took them without them being tested, and it's what killed them in the long run. So,
that's unfortunate, because what we're seeing is, when we talk about the four horsemen of Bigfooting, they've all passed away. And then the recent death of Dr. Meldrum, that was kind of we knew he had health problems. I think the first time I heard anything major going on was when he was on that Bigfoot cruise up in Alaska. And he got flown off of there because he passed out on the ship. And ever since then, he's just not been his full self.
No, but I saw him this year and last year at the Ohio Bigfoot Conference and talked with them and everything. And I enjoyed talking to Dr. Meldrum. I really did. And now at the Pennsylvania Camp Out Adventure, Bigfoot Camp Out Adventure, I was there. I was really hoping to see Dr. Meldrum, but he had to cancel a couple days before, saying he was really sick. Didn't go in details. Didn't know he had brain cancer.
Yeah.
And then
Yeah. I actually was over there with Eric Altman's camp out too. I was over there with Mark Mazel.
Yeah.
And we heard that from as soon as we got there that Eric said he had called and politely passed, and Ken Gerhard's girlfriend actually stepped in and talked kind of like about the psychology of Bigfooting, which was really interesting. Right. It was a talk that I really hadn't heard, or I've heard it before, but more from the witness standpoint. Our friend Joe, who's had that Cuyahoga Bigfoot off the train tracks there, he's kind of morphed into that kind of a Dr. Phil kind of Bigfoot type of deal where he's lived it, and I've seen him go from unable to even finish the story around a campfire, where later on he's able to kind of comfort other people who's going through that PTSD. So I think it needs to be, more people need to be getting into that to help some of these witnesses out.
Yes. I had some well-known people contacting me after my sighting, because they were told that I lost the grip because of PTSD, where I really didn't want to go out and research. Of course, my sighting 15 feet away from me. So, and even though I was looking for them, I didn't expect it right there. And the shock and all of it really threw me into PTSD. And we do need more people out there to help with that. And there is a few that are doing it. Ron Howe got that group with the biker Bigfoot, but the scary thought of it, he's someone that has been out there and he's been able to talk about it, and he kind of enjoys what he does. Yep. Oh, you froze up, Tater. He froze up. Oh, boy. We're doing it off his phone because his computer's not working right. It's crazy. But anyhow, he should be coming back. Tater has taught me
There we go.
There he is. But your lips ain't moving.
I'm moving.
There they are.
Yeah.
Froze up there for a second or a minute. But I sat and listened to you talk different things about Bigfoot, Tater, and I learned a couple things out there too with your talks, and I can relate to some of your ideas and way of doing things. And are you still with us?
Well, for me, it's just, for me, it's just having fun, really, at this age. I'm in that. I think there's I don't know if it's been invented or I invented it, but when we talk about journeys, it's not necessarily the destination. It's the people that you're with, and I really having fun.
Brian, you brought that up.
And sit around the fire and talk about old stories. The best ones are the ones you've had 5 or 10 years of Bigfooting with, and you still get along.
Right. And that's the thing. When you and Mark showed up at the camping adventure, I always wanted to meet Mark. I never did, but I finally did there, and I was so excited. And I love what the story you told me about you guys coming to it. So that made me feel good. Yeah.
Well, when I first got into Bigfooting, that expedition down there, we was in West Virginia, and he was from Ohio, and I was from Coshocton. I was there with a coworker, and he called us the Coshocton Boys because the other guy was from Coshocton too, and we just kept bugging him, and he kind of took me under his wing. I remember I got an email one time that he was looking for Uncle Harry, and if I want to know if I wanted to go, and I didn't answer first. And he's like, "Are you interested or not?" And I said, "Sure." and so we went, and it was over at Salt Fork, and it's still to this day one of the best Bigfoot encounters that I've ever had. And it was that kind of solidified me into going and doing more. It was a fun story. I thought he left me out to dry, but it ended up after all the activity left, we were the bait, and they kind of turned their attention to us. And it was kind of nerve wracking. I had a friend there who we were at the Salt Fork, and they had all went back after having a lot of activity. I'm doing kind of me and him was on a point where we could communicate with the different groups, being intermediate for radio walkie-talkie contact. And then all of a sudden it died over there, and they said, "Well, we're going to go back to the cars. We'll come around the park and pick you up." And we're like, "Okay." Didn't know it was going to be about a 45-minute wait, and then they were still there, and they kind of made us a little nervous. And I mean this to all honesty. My friend Jesse, who is a really good friend now, but at the time I just barely knew him, and I'm thinking, if I kick his knee out, I can outrun him.
I use that excuse all the time with people.
And what was funny was he and his friend Alan was giving a library talk over in Caddis, and I went there to see him, and I walked in directly when he was saying that exact situation. And I walked in, and he pointed to me. He says, "And he's the one that was going to kick me right there." So, but that was I couldn't sleep that night. I had to sleep sitting up in my vehicle because it was just acid reflux, and my brain was going a mile a minute, and it was just a very and the other part was we was trying to figure out why something was throwing rocks in front of us like 12 times in a row. And I finally got radio contact with Maisel Mark, and I said, "Hey, it's not leaving, and it's continuing to throw rocks." And it was down there at that turnaround. And he says, "Well, you remember what we're talking about is usually two in that area." It was we thought almost all investigators down in that area was looking at a female and a juvenile. And he says, "Yeah, it's probably not moving."
Wait a minute. You said turnaround. Is that on 57?
Yeah.
Yep. Oh, yeah. That's a spooky ass area. I don't care.
So he said, watch your six. And I'm like, dang it. I forgot about what's behind me, and sure enough, it was reacting like a parent or a sibling or a relative. Because when we turned our attention to what was behind us, then it got really agitated and a little bit more aggressive.
Yeah. I fortunately have not had no incidents down there on 57. But that is a spooky area. And a lot of people have activities down there. And it's just crazy, and just to think that's down over the hill from the camp area too. Uh, hey, Griff, um, but the thing is, there's activity all over that park, and it's very
I,
interesting.
I,
Go
I,
ahead.
I think it might be in some places overworked.
Yes.
I think they're definitely there. It's kind of like someone, if you were living in a house and there was no threat, if someone camped in your front yard, you might be a little ticked if you couldn't do nothing about it, but you're locking your doors, you're gonna keep an eye out, but you're
Uh,
not moving. And
yep.
if you find someone in your house, now you might get a little agitated
Yep.
and be a little bit more forceful. So I think that's where we're at right now. Is that I think they're down there in certain areas, and they might even be more on private property. But
Yes.
I think they know the where the pawpaw plants are, or the berries, or where the eggs are for the geese, or where there's frogs. They know that's their refrigerator, that's their bed. They know that
Yep.
area.
And
And I
then,
really think that, and I think the campground has morphed into a friendlier spot for them. And what happens on Sundays? Everybody dumps their food in the dumpster. It bakes there all day Sunday,
yep.
and it's not till Monday or Tuesday till the trash truck comes by to dump.
Yep.
And so you have a smorgasbord in some of these easy pickings for some of these squatches.
But some,
But
like you said, it's been oversaturated with Bigfooters.
yeah, and the bad thing is there's a couple things. One, that groups aren't communicating with each other. We had a little bit of a period there where we were, but I think social media and egos got into it, and everybody kind of splitsville again.
Yep.
But there was a time there where I know when I was in the BFRO and SOSP and stuff, we were at least trying to communicate a little bit more. And when that happened, we could share what we were experiencing. And I can guarantee you a lot of times it was similar stuff. I
Yep.
know there at group camp, we, Maisel and I and Jesse and Alan and another gentleman, we heard samurai chatter, all five of us. And it
Yeah.
was clear as day. We had no equipment because we really weren't Bigfooting. We were actually harassing the friends that were staying there, Maisel and I. And oh yeah, this was good because
Yeah.
I had bought this big Rice Krispies Easter bunny
Oh,
at one
geez.
of the grocery stores, and they were out flying their drone for some documentary for the park history. And their tent was the only tent in group camp, and we snuck up there, and I put the Rice Krispie treat on their sleeping bag, and then just
Mm.
left.
Oh, geez.
And they got a little nervous when that
Yeah.
happened. So
Oh man, I folks, that's him. I was down at Cabela's down in West Virginia doing a talk down there, and someone says, "Hey, Bill," I turned around. There's Tater holding a stick with my face on it, like this here. I went, "Oh my god!" It totally
uh,
blew me out of the
oh,
water with that one.
you have to when you do a prank or a joke on somebody, one, you have to know that they're gonna
Huh?
appreciate it.
Yep.
And that made the whole room giggle and laugh.
Huh?
And I there was a bunch of people down there, and you were one of them that's the other part I feel.
Yeah.
I mean, I get complimented for doing stuff, doing the right thing, and doing lots of research. But I really try to travel for my friends. When I have a
Yes.
friend that's going speaking at engagement, if I have the freedom and time, I really try to get there to
I
support
go.
them.
Yep.
And
Eh,
it's kind of just having that camaraderie because it's nervous enough to get in front of people and talk, But if you have a couple friends in the crowd, then that makes it a little bit easier.
Yeah, but like you said, as long as someone can take the little prank and that, but that made my day. I laughed about that for a whole year about it. It's like, oh yeah, two bills, nobody can handle that.
No, no.
But and that's the thing. We got to still have fun doing our research and
Well,
stuff.
yeah. The other part is, I guess, I think we need to define what research is and what investigation is. I think there's, and then I would create another thing where it's someone who just wants to create material to be on social media.
Yeah, we got a few of them.
Because I have, when I go out, I'm more. I don't know if I ever say if I get a witness, I can do a good investigation, and I'm going to try to prove if they're hoaxing or misidentifying, or if it's a real thing, and try to then share that information with other researchers for peer review. And I don't think not a lot of people does peer review, which is important. Or did I miss something?
I know a few people. And the one has a really big group, keeps all the reports to themselves and not share it. There's times we can't share anything. Other times they'll let us share the report, but not the names and location, whatever. But they don't share nothing. And what good is that? All they're doing is collecting all the data, and maybe somebody over here had the same thing, but they want their information, but don't share the ones they got, so it could be collaborated.
Well, again, some of these are businesses. I mean, it is that they say it's Bigfoot research, but some of these are businesses. Yeah. And you want to be the top dog because you want to have people who first thing they think of is to get with you if they have a report. I still think Bigfoot's going to be found by 4 or 5 guys who've been in the woods together forever, and they stumble on one, and they are lucky that everything works that one day, and they capture the perfect video and then follow up with the footprints and the investigation. I really don't think it's going to be an important organization as much as it is just going to be a group of guys that just have been working together for years is going to catch it.
Yes, exactly. And same thing, my buddy, Brian DeWart. Some redaction makes sense, but if you want help, you got to share, and that's 110%. And I always say that, share the information you get with others. And
and the other part is help each other. I know Brian for a long time, and when I first met him, he struggled mightily in the woods, as in just getting his stuff together. It was kind of like a Grizzly Adams type of deal. He was a greenhorn, and then all of a sudden, I am just proud to be his friend, because all of a sudden I'm going to campouts and he's leading groups, or he has an area that he knows that he's gotten 2 or 3 experiences there, and he is knowledgeable and can lead the newbie or tell the newbie what's going on. And so Brian's been a wonderful addition to the Bigfoot field.
Yes, he has, and I'm very pleased and happy to say he's a friend. He travels. Yes, he does, and he gives me grief when he thinks I'm overdoing it or I'm doing something wrong. He will tell me. He says, don't make me come and sit your ass down.
Right, but no, he's someone you could trust in the woods. Yeah. And he's someone that will tell you when you're saying something, or at least question you, so you have to explain yourself. Exactly. There's no harm in that. Yeah. So one of the things that we definitely wanted to touch base on is that this weekend we got Don Keating is having a Bigfoot conference down there in New Cumberstown.
Right.
And
I can't go.
that's where it all started from. That's where that was the roots of OBC. So it'll be interesting.
I was already committed to another event when he come out saying he's doing this one. And I'm like, no, not the same date. So
Yeah.
I'll be in Johnstown and you guys will be there.
I think before we got on here, I checked. I think, and it hasn't been confirmed, but it looked like Adam Davies might not be coming.
Oh.
Adam Davies said something about sorry to miss my Ohio friends, but he's looking forward to seeing everybody at the New York Bigfoot conference that's happening next week.
Yeah. I've been kind of locked into Johnstown for a year now, so I'd be down there at Dawn's. I really would. Yep. And
well, the other speakers, John Hickenbaum, and we all know John and how great he's been to not only Salt Fork, but the idea of a naturalist who works for the state of Ohio actually having the blessing, I guess, of the ODNR to speak about Bigfoot.
Yep.
He came on kind of as a naysayer, and I think through experiences with different groups and even when he did his own little podcast there, he did some educational programming. He's had more and more experiences there at the park, and he's a dedicated reader, and he's brought up the knowledge of history, and I think I've already told him one of the things when he's kind of like, wow, I don't know if I want to go down this rabbit hole or not, but I told him that he's going to be a great ambassador for us researchers.
Yes.
And for me, I was talking to a couple other Bigfooters that's done some research down there at Salt Fork. 10 years ago, there's no way we would have said that the ODNR would embrace it to a point where the mascot to their nature center, their eco center, would be a Bigfoot.
Yeah.
And they totally embraced it. And it's a wonderful feeling that it's almost part of the local animal sightings. They're almost accepting it.
Well, they are accepting it. Ohio DNR, I believe, is the second state agency that has accepted Bigfoot. All right, and I'm just really, really, really impressed with that one. Because I wish Pennsylvania would get on board.
Well, what's the funny thing is people are going to see the revenue that Bigfoot enthusiasts can throw.
Yes.
I mean, we go there when it's unpopular. We go there when it's cold. We go there and camp in the primitive areas, or at least just have electricity. And we're kind of doing it without the spotlight. And we trek in the woods. We get muddy. Most of the time we strike out, but every once in a while we'll get something cool or something that's going to be just enough to bring us back.
Yep.
But it's the enthusiasts that can go to these festivals, and you go down to you and I both had little conferences that attracts a nice little number. But when you go down to things like Hocking Hills a couple times in Logan, it was giving Mothman a run for its money. And everywhere you turn, when people are able to put the money into it, there's vendors and everything else. It sells. It's a big seller. People like Sasquatch Bigfoot.
Yep, and what's weird is thank you, Internet, for making Bigfoot mainstream, basically.
Hmm.
You know, it, plus it helps with people talking about their sightings. But Bigfoot is mainstream anymore. And
Right. Well, and look, with Don's conference this weekend, Breedlove was going to be there too from Small Town
right,
Monsters.
yep,
And I really like what he has done recently because when he first started out, he went after the big names, the
yeah,
Bray Road and Land Between by the Lakes, and he went for all the big names, Flatwood Monsters and UFO. He kind of went after the big, the easy ones, the chapters, you know.
yep.
And now he's kind of going back around and hitting more regional people. And so I got lucky. I was on a couple episodes, and it was really just one interview. But what I talked about, he broke in and inserted into one or two of his episodes. But he's given people around that's been telling these stories, that's been researching these things for years, and a moment. And it's kind of funny but a patient of mine, well, I'm a physical therapist, a patient of mine, I was in doing therapy on him, and they're like, we saw you last night on YouTube. And I was like, well, I didn't even know which one it was. I was like, oh, really? I was like, which one, what did I talk about? And it was just a really nice way of opening out a communication line, because that guy ended up sharing a experience about him and fishing, and so we made good friendship. So Seth's doing a great thing with local researchers right now.
When I did an event for Brian Seach and Fred Saluga down at Thompson Run, the very first year they did, I was down there supporting them. I wasn't said, speaker or anything. Well, the one reporter says, "Are you one of the speakers?" I'm like, "No." "Do you believe in Bigfoot?" I said, "I sure do. I saw one. Can we get an interview?" I'm like, I looked at Brian. I said, "They want an interview." He said, "Go for it." It's their thing. I did not want to step on their toes.
Right.
Well, a year ago, now I believe this was the third one this year. A year ago, I walk into my barber shop to get a haircut, and I get in the chair, and there's usually 4 barbers there. And the 2 young guys, barbers, start saying, "And there's our friend the Bigfooter." Well, we saw you on TV.
Yeah,
but it's on their YouTube channel.
I'm to a point where I just don't care anymore. I'll say I'm Bigfooter and just let it roll, because I'm just too old to care anymore. And it gets me more topics or interviews, and people will come up later and say, "Hey, I had a road crossing that I want to tell you about," and it's like, great,
I had that a lot too, but these guys were all excited if they saw me on the TV station YouTube talking about Bigfoot. They said, "We know that guy. He comes into the shop," and it's like, wow, that it's very. It kind of made me feel good, and the one kid that was getting his haircut, he says, "A friend of mine from Hubbard, she's really big in Bigfoot, and I'm good friends with her son." I said, "From Hubbard, Liberty?" And he goes, "Yeah." I went, "Her name's Tina." "Yeah." I said, "Yeah, I know her." And I said, "She's one hell of a lady, and she's always full of piss and vinegar, man. She's always on the up and up and going." And
there was a time where Amy Boo and Tina and myself and a couple of we went out to Beachfoot, Todd Niece's event, and that was quite an adventure. But they were there to talk about Project Zoo Book, which is amazing. It's a amazing development. It's nothing like it, and people, I don't know, might even try to imitate it. But it's just a safe space for scientists and people in the scientific community to actually listen without a lot of craziness
Yes.
about the facts and research that's going on in Bigfooting. And we've solved, I'm going to say solved, we have been able to pose a question or a concern and then have real intelligent people who are out either in the field collecting specimens of mosquitoes or aquatic life, talk about real biological facts.
Yep. Yep.
And then we have guys that talk about nothing but data. They plug in information about nuts from trees and flowers that bloom and their reports. And all of a sudden they put in Bigfoot reports and they start layering all this information of just nature on a map. And all of a sudden you start seeing correlations where things are starting to pop, where you're thinking, well, that shows that would be a strong place for Bigfoot to be.
Yes,
and sure
exactly.
enough, it starts making sense.
All right. Somebody just popped in there. Says, hi, Bill. I don't think I ever met David yet, but I'm familiar with his name. His name is Paul Frazier from Western Ohio Bigfoot Research.
Oh, Paul, yeah. Paul and I, we bumped into each other when I first got in, and I was more of a boots on the ground and a grunt. I was carrying the big packs, heavy packs for people. So I know Paul from his research, but it was old time. We haven't connected in a long time. So yeah, I remember Paul.
Yeah, Paul's a good dude.
I think we're friends on Facebook.
Oh, I'm sorry, but no, that's good. But yeah, Paul's another great researcher out there, and I'm so proud of him. Oh, Nicole wants to know, what's your favorite equipment to use?
Favorite equipment. You know, I used to pack like I was going to war, and I think right now I want to say a therm, but I really just think it's a notebook and a pencil.
Yeah.
I love the idea of seeing a therm and watching a bat fly or tracing a rabbit or a squirrel run through the woods. But I think if I've failed myself, I would say a pen and a piece of paper and writing down everything that I've ever experienced. If people was asking me before if I ever think about writing a book, I think I have good stuff to say, but I really am picky on the details. And the only way I would have trusted myself to write a book is if I would have taken notes all the time.
I have a hell of a time. I started and I can't get nowhere. But anyhow, I'm going to share what my favorite thing is. And I just received it. I think you know what I'm talking about. Camp out.
Call blast.
Yep. From Fox Pro. I love this one. They actually, they did me justice with that. Yes, it is a commercial, Danny. She loved the get.
Well, what you have to talk about is that a company felt the need to put in some options for Sasquatch. Not only do you have the coyotes, the deer, the injured rabbit, all those other pre-programmed vocalizations, but they've actually took the time to put in other ones that we would possibly use out in the field.
Yes.
So
Yeah,
it's
this is
getting
called
to a
the
point where
Squatch
it's not
Pro.
taboo anymore.
Yeah, it's called the Squatch Pro from the Fox Pro group. They got several different ones, and this runs for like $150. But it got the Bigfoot house, got different ones, but the one I'm not allowed to play here anymore is the cage cottontail. Between the
Yeah.
cats and the dogs, they go totally berserk.
Yep.
But
Yeah.
yeah, Brian says he'd love to have an audio recorder with a lapel mic that you put to your hat. But Brian, that hat you wear, they'd be bouncing up and down and be catching wind. I was too. Open portal. I have a pulsar axion, and I thought, oh, that's Paul Frazier's. But let me screw back up. And Sparky's here.
Oh, Spark.
But the thing is, I took it out one evening and tried it. Didn't get no response. I didn't think I would, but Sparky says, "Hey Tater, don't forget your object to measure footprints for reference."
He's a man after my own heart right there.
Yeah.
I don't know how many times, and it's good, and it's from researchers and just friends who find a footprint and they take a picture, and there's no point of reference size to it. So yeah, Sparks brings up a perfect point. Always have a tape measure or a dollar bill. Dollar bills, what, 2.5 and 6. So I got people who take pocket knives, a Bic lighter, or a pack of cigs, something like that. I mean, we got to take the moment to try to figure out the width or length of it so we can apply it to the footprint. Kind of gets a little crazy, but
that's the thing. A lot of people forget. They do comparison. I always carried a small tape measure with me.
Yeah.
When I go in, always. Do I carry casting materials with me? Hell no, I don't want to carry heavy stuff. If I find a print, I'll mark it and I'll run out and get the casting to bring it back.
Well, a lot of times, the idea is if you find something, take a picture of it, or take a picture over top of it, have a point of reference for size, like a dollar bill or tape measure, and then take a picture of your maps. So it gives you the latitude and longitude so you can come back to it and not get lost on the trail. But the casting material has been fun because I'm a strong believer in hydrocal. I just think it's wonderful. I've tried other stuff before. I've tried the spray foam, the expanding spray foam, and that's okay, but it doesn't capture the details. But it's light, and
what I don't like about that.
And I got some friends who are doing the 3D digitizer, from the phone, and that is amazing. But then you have this 3D picture that you can look on your phone, and you can send it to your friends. But you have to find a 3D printer. And that's the thing that I've been running into, is trying to find a printer. There's a college nearby that everybody keeps telling me to go print them over there. So I might have to do that one day, is go rent the 3D printer for an hour and see what I can do. But that's going to be, I think the technology is going to be in the future. That's going to be very helpful.
Yes. And Danny, my buddy Danny from West Virginia says, I've got a Victoria's Secret cloth tape measure. Also, if he runs in a female swatch, he can measure for garments. Oh my God, Danny.
Whatever floats your boat, I guess.
I dare you to go up and try to measure. Hey,
Shoot.
would you like the Victoria's Secret bra? Oh my God. Off track. Off track. But anyhow, where were you this past couple weeks?
The thing is, this month or so is going to be kind of busy. We was at Eric Altman's Bigfoot Adventure Camp out over in Pennsylvania, and got to be just a attendee, I guess. The previous year, I had done workshops on casting and how to cast a footprint. So, Eric graciously invited me back, and a lot of people was there that I knew, and just got to hang out with some friends and some of the speakers that I know. And it was a wonderful time. This past weekend, they had a Ohio expedition for the BFRO, and I was down there doing a talk. I gave a talk on some projects that I've been working on, and this is the mad scientist part. This is hopefully one of these days when I can't get out in the woods because I can't walk far, or my back is hurting me and I can't sleep on the ground anymore. Maybe this will be what I can be allotted to. But as a physical therapist, we talk a lot about not having any Bigfoot experts. But I really believe that people are experts in fields of study that they have worked at for years. And I'm a physical therapist. So, when like Dr. Meldrum, when he was talking about different things like the mid-tarsal break, or the talus joint, or talar joint, or fibula tibia, the heel toe walking mechanism and stuff like that, weight shifting, biomechanics. That was stuff I could understand. But this past weekend, one of the things I was talking about that I was working on is I got a couple casts that I really believed in, that they were authentic Bigfoot casts, because they had a witness that saw the creature make the print, and then had a really good report written up about it. And so I really had high confidence in it. And my idea came from, do you remember the cast, the Cripplefoot cast, the Bossberg footprints?
Yep.
Where Dr. Krantz did the drew in the anatomical bones.
Yes.
And the crippled foot had the injury, so the bones were kind of skewed. Well, I said, well, let's challenge myself and use my 30 years of being a physical therapist. I know where the bones should be. And with a little bit of knowledge from Dr. Meldrum's book, When Sasquatch Meets Science, there's a couple things that he's observed in there. I actually got one of the footprints and slowly drew the bones in there. And so I kind of broke it up into layers. I know where the calcaneus was, and then the talar joints, and then I worked on the talar joints with the metatarsals, and then metatarsals with the toes, the phalanges. And what was kind of cool was this. There was a little bit of evidence where these things should be. I kind of had to pencil something in, but sometimes there was already kind of landmarks across here that kind of helped me to what was going on. So I was looking for where one of the toes went. You start up here where there's an indention of the toes, but it's not always a straight line getting from down here to up here. But there was some when you stick your hand in the mud and you pull it up, sometimes there's some ridges that pop up with last touching your fingers. Yeah. And so there's a little bit of that going on here. And I just thought it was fun. It was a fun exercise for me to take something that I hope that I can have confidence in and say, okay, I'm looking for this part of the joint of the foot. And the only problem I had was, the idea of thinking what a Sasquatch foot would do rather than what a human foot was supposed to be doing. So we didn't have a arch. We didn't have longitudinal ligament. We didn't have different things, crunched up toes because we wear shoes all the time. So I kind of had to use what I know, but not let what I know dictate how I drew the foot.
Yeah.
And I think it came out wonderfully. I'm excited to, I guess, start borrowing or trying to copy other people's footprints and seeing what other information can be extrapolated from that. It's not exact science. I've taken lots of liberty, but it's something that I've not seen anyone else do. And if someone has knowledge in anatomy, I think we could get a group that could put that to task.
Yes, and Danny thinks it is flipping cool, and that looks awesome. And I can honestly say, I'm really impressed with that. Okay, it's
well,
but your background to do that made it even better. It's
right. So I'm not just like willy-nilly just drawing things out. I'm actually there's lines on the back here. I don't know if you can see it or not, but there's like a green line and a red line and a blue line, and that was what I was kind of using as my my divisions. And so I know that when I got to here, I was going to have to draw the calcaneus, and then the metatarsals was going to be in between here, and the tarsals and the phalanges were going to be up here, and it was just a learning curve. It was a learning curve, and I think I can perfect it, or we can improve it and establish rules that we have to abide by to, and I maybe in 5 or 10 years, it could be something that could be used as an investigating tool to not 100% dictate if a footprint is fake or not.
Right.
But there's information hidden in there, I believe, that it would really take a genius to hoax for some of these.
Yeah. No, I guarantee, because I studied the human foot from 95. I had my left foot totally crushed. So I studied the bone structures, and I'm lucky to still have my foot. But one doctor said, yes, I can save the bones, and they're not perfect, but I still got my foot, and I forced myself not to walk with a limp because it hurts. But I had to study the bones, and there's similarities to the Bigfoot to ours, but there's a lot of big differences too.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Well, we're primates. I really believe we're primates, so we're going to have similar structures. But it's going to be a little bit different. If you look at the uncivilized tribes in Amazon and other areas that were the world has said they're off limits, don't missionaries, archaeologists stay away from. We're just not going to touch them. If you're even able to look at some of their feet are extremely flat. They have wide, spread out toes. I mean, they're closer to what a Sasquatch foot would be in a smaller model. But their feet, they're using those to climb, to hold on to things, to make things, to weave ropes and stuff like that. They have an appendage that they can grab and use. It's not like a monkey. It's not that dexterous and pliable. but they can run in the woods really, really simply.
Oh yeah, very much so. But anyhow, it's 8:02. We've got a few more minutes. Um, what do you got going on in the rest of this month and into next month?
Well, really just right now, the last thing I'm really preparing for is down at Park City. It's just south of Mammoth Cave. I've been blessed to go down there and talk at it's Park City Bigfoot Festival. And last year, Amy Boo and Adam Davies was the speakers there.
Right.
And Lester's telling me that it's a great place, that he would move there if he could. But I was introduced and they asked me to go, and I'm just ecstatic because they got a couple people down there. Ken Gerhardt is kind of a someone I've bumped into, and it's been fun just to hang out with him. And I try not to be a fanboy, but I've read a lot of his books, and I've seen him speak at many conferences, and just to have him on the speaker list is amazing to be there. Alexander Petrikov. Yeah, Alexander Petrikov. Small Town Monsters did a lot with him, and he's researched everything from Loch Ness Monster to the big cats and stuff like that, mysterious cats, and he's a really interesting and thought-provoking researcher that I have lots of respect for. Ronnie LeBlanc from Expedition Bigfoot. I've really not met him and had much experience with that, but I know that he's been talking at different talks and conferences. So, and then Dusty Ruth, a friend of mine who's also in the BFRO, he's the person that led last weekend's expedition, and he's from Ohio also, and also from the Kentucky area. He's been on research. So there's a lot of people that I have fun with or respect, and I'm just honored to go down there and talk. And I got a few more tricks up my sleeve that kind of went by really good this past weekend that I'm really excited to share.
Oh man, that's gonna be awesome. But I need to get out of here to help my wife. As most everyone knows, she is still about 75% better, but she's still got a little ways to go. We'll find out more information this Friday. So that's why I've been limited on Facebook and all the social media things. But I will be in Johnstown this weekend instead of down there with Don Keating for the Pennsylvania or Western PA Cryptid and Supernatural Expo. I'll be speaking there Saturday. I hope whoever doesn't go to Don Keating's, come to Johnstown. Both are great events. Seriously. So I'm beating myself up for committing so early, but I'm glad I did. I love the people down there at the Masonic Temple. They put on a great event. I was there last year as a fill-in, and it was already planned for me to come this year. So they kept me for this year. I'll be talking to you soon, Tater, because I want to get you back on and cover a few other things. I definitely want you back.
That sounds wonderful.
And like I said, people, he's a wealth of knowledge. He really is. And with his background in physical therapy, like he showed with that cast, and he got other great ideas out there. And I'm so grateful to call you my friend. By the way, for the ones that didn't know it, that Sasquatch Triangle, he's the one that created it.
The conference.
The conference.
I had I had to lose a lot of bowling matches to Don Keating to get him to agree to come and speak at the Sasquatch Triangle Conference and let us use that name. So I wanted to give Don a little bit of a heads up, but he's the one that did the research and created that. But when I did the conference, I lost to a guy that's 20 years older than me. And he whooped my butt every time. I think I won one game one time, and he was so mad at himself. He is very competitive in bowling.
You could tell he's a competitor just by his actions. He's a very competitive guy. And I got a lot of respect for Don too. But anyhow, folks, I want to thank you all for being here. Tater, you're the best, brother. We love and respect you. And thank you so much, and we will have you back on soon.
Okay. Love you, Bill.
Yeah.
Take care of that for us.
Oh, I definitely will. You all take care. You all have a good night, safe week, what's left of this half of the week, and enjoy your weekend.
Thank you for tuning in to the Agents of the Unexplained. Please visit our website at agentsoftheunexplained.net for unique paranormal merchandise like t-shirts, books, and coffee mugs. Join our Facebook group and subscribe to our YouTube channel for more thrilling content. Until next time, keep questioning the unexplainable.